The beginning of the film shows two modern black males in designer underwear being auctioned off. They seem like they are being sold as slaves since they are bound by their necks. After then, the film cuts back to the beginning of everything. It centers on two estranged half-brothers from the West Indies named Jack and Joel Davis, who have quite different lifestyles. A black guy of one race named Joel just got out of jail after spending time for stealing an elderly woman's pocketbook. He now lives with his mother and daughter. He has a history of being unemployed and attributes his problems, including his unemployment, to racism. He has nevertheless, made a genuine effort to get employment. Jack, on the other hand, is multiracial. He is married to a white woman and has a 9-year-old daughter with her. He is well integrated into the social strata of the upper classes and lives in a wealthy town. Jack serves as the mayor's assistant in the town hall where he works. One day, Jack's uncle calls him to tell him that his father is dying and that his last request is to see all his children one more time. Jack, however, does not care about his absentee father since he was not around while Regis was a youngster. His insane wife then threatens to get slept with other guys if he doesn't give his father one final visit before they sit down to supper. He then continues to enjoy dinner with his family. Without any other option, he unwillingly consents. Regis flies to his father's house in his hometown the next day. At the airport, he meets Joel, who is also visiting their father. The brothers, who haven't spoken in over a decade, put aside their disagreements and decide to take a cab together. On the route to their father's house, they catch up in the cab. Joel pretends to hide his failings out of humiliation, whereas Regis is very honest about his great life. When they go to their father's house, they meet their aunt and a few half-sisters. It turns out that their dad traveled the globe and interacted with several women. Joel and Jack have varied skin tones, which explains why. The elderly man's eyes shine as he sees his two sons, who are his only children. He promises Regis and Joel that they will get a huge treasure before passing away. The brothers are excited and ready to learn more about the riches because of this. To their surprise, the only legacy they get is a record of their ancestors' freedom. A few slaves received this paper from their masters in exchange for doing an exceptional deed. Evidently, slavery was abolished in the West Indies long before Regis and Joel's forefathers acquired freedom. However, they laugh at the inheritance and are unconcerned with the symbolic significance of the document. Then, they mockingly rip the paper up in front of their late father's sister. As expected, this enraged the old woman, so she decides to teach the brats a lesson. She casts a voodoo spell on them and sends them back to the 17th century, where slavery is still prevalent. The following scene shows Jack and Joel waking up in an open field while just wearing their fancy underwear. A few black folks who are running away in fear pass the two as they are left wondering what occurred. Two slave hunters also show up at that same moment and seize the Davis brothers. After that, they are brought to a slave market and sold to a landowner named Monsieur Jourdain, while Jack is assigned to the home's cooking. Jourdain leaves Joel in charge of the fields, where he will labor under the supervision of Henry, a harsh and virulently racist overseer. The half-brothers soon realize that they have truly gone back in time to 1780, when slavery is still practiced. The slaves are forced to listen to a priest read from a phony Bible the next day as he instructs the black people on how to submit to the whites. However, they disagree with the information because only the Davis brothers and the white people can read. Even the priest is taken aback when Jack reads him a passage from the book. Joel is struck by Henry later in the day after arriving late to the field. Joel attempts to flee the farm since he is sick of Henry's abuse and conduct, but ends up striking his head on a pole. He receives a public scourging for his deeds. The next evening, Jack is summoned to Monsieur Jourdain's office, where his aptitude for reading is noted. He receives praise from Jourdain for being a clever slave and is granted authority over the other slaves alongside Henry. Rosalie, a female slave, is tending to Joel's wounds in the meantime. Joel has only known her for 5 minutes, yet he immediately seems to like her. He moves in for a kiss at the perfect time, but she declines. Joel is disappointed when Rosalie subsequently confesses her love for Isidore, a fellow slave. The next day, Jack begins doing his new responsibility and giving other slaves instructions on how to perform their tasks. Joel reprimands his brother for being egotistical and being like the neighborhood's white people. Regis, though, is unconcerned. He stays obedient to his new employers and updates Monsieur Jourdain on his efforts throughout the day. When the white family eventually learns that Regis can read, they all start making fun of him. They also make fun of his piano-playing skills. To everyone's astonishment, Jack is an excellent pianist. However, the whites brutally lash him as a consequence of this. Regis is ready to quit at this point. The next morning, The two brothers flee the plantation by secretly hopping in the carriage of a Jewish man named Isaac. When they arrive at his home, Isaac approaches them and admits that he was aware of their presence the whole time. The brothers beg him for compassion, but to their astonishment, Isaac treats them kindly and cares for them since Jews are also targets of prejudice. The assassins of Monsieur Jourdain soon show up at Isaac's house looking for the two brothers. However, Jack and Joel bid Isaac goodbye and escape out the back door before they are apprehended. They go to the coast, where they board a broken-down boat and head out to sea. In a funny turn of events, they encounter a ship that is used to take slaves to auctions, get apprehended, and are then put in jail. The Davis brothers eventually find themselves in the same slave market, where Jourdain's goons purchase them. Fortunately, an African group known as the Maroons rescues the boys on their trip back to the plantation. It is now clear that the tribe's members were all slaves at some point prior to their exodus from their masters. After being accepted into the tribe, the two start chanting alongside the chief. Regis, who is married to a white woman, chooses not to chant when the Maroons discuss murdering the white people. The tribe is incensed by this and rapidly turns against the brothers. Thankfully, Regis and Joel are able to escape the tribe and make it to freedom. The next day, the two find themselves in an unfamiliar location when they see their aunt, who casts a spell on them. The brothers quickly come to the conclusion that she was the one who sent them back in time. They beg her to break the curse, saying they will do anything for it. The elderly grandmother first rejects the boys' request, but as they persist, she offers them a clue. She informs them that in order to rejoin with Isidore and Rosalie and return to the present, they must return to the plantation. She also instructs them to rectify the problem without going into greater detail. The lady tells the brothers to smoke her unique pipe when they have successfully performed their job before departing. Joel recalls witnessing what seemed to be Isidore having oral sex with another guy while the two are discussing possible solutions to the problem. Additionally, he showed Regis a video of the event that he had captured on his phone. Isidore is subsequently persuaded to be gay, and the two brothers incorrectly think this is the error they are meant to correct. Joel and Regis return to the plantation in the next scene. They attempt to bargain with Monsieur Jourdain about their penalty, but their efforts are unsuccessful. Instead, they get a plantation symbol as a kind of branding. They then go back to their huts and start formulating their strategy. The whites are enjoying the wedding party of Monsieur Jourdain's daughter inside the house at the same time. The brothers plan their own celebration for the slaves, using this as the ideal diversion. They steal a barrel of rum from the distillery to get drunk and start the relationship between Isidore and Rosalie. However, their plot is derailed when Jack witnesses Joel making out with Rosalie as a result of his crush on her. After that, the two brothers improvise and lend a hand while the couple engages in sexual activity while they are sound asleep. They are certain that their objective has been completed once this is done. The brothers plan to get vengeance on the whites since they think they may return home anytime they want. Armed, they enter the mansion and humiliate everyone within. Joel kisses Monsieur Jourdain's daughter, while Jack begins destroying furniture and even slaps a white guy. Henry suddenly enters the room with a rifle and yells at the brothers. Regis and Joel still use the pipe without any symptoms of dread. Unfortunately, nothing occurs when they smoke it. The magical pipe that the elderly woman gave seems to have been replaced with a regular pipe. They are imprisoned in a cage for their actions and will be put to death the next day. The brothers have emotional outbursts that evening and begin to reflect on their decisions. Regis discusses his failed marriage, and Joel admits he is unemployed and out of money. After a while, the brothers are still commiserating with one another until Henry shows up and leads them to the field where they would be hung. But just before the execution, Victor, Monsieur Jourdain's son, flees into the woods because he can't stand to see the scene. Rosaline runs after him and discovers that he has fallen into the neighboring river as she pursues him. Family members rush to the site in a state of terror. Henry is defeated as Isidore protects the brothers by taking advantage of the commotion. Then he commands them to flee for their lives, and they comply. Victor is being washed away by the creek as the brothers are on the run when they come upon him. The two leap into the roiling river without a second thought. But Joel can't swim, which surprises Regis. This makes his job considerably more difficult, yet he still succeeds in saving both his brother and Victor. Monsieur Jourdain releases the brothers because he is grateful to them for saving his son's life. The same deed of emancipation that their late father gave to them is likewise granted to the half-brothers. They ask Monsieur Jourdain to release Isidore and Rosalie and provide them the papers. However, they don't accept their release or the prize. The monsieur thinks the request to be quite odd, but he nonetheless complies. The brothers have freed Isidore and Rosalie in this fashion, but they are still searching for the magical pipe that will allow them to go back in time. As the days go by, they gradually come to terms with the possibility that they may never go back to their time. Isidore and Rosaline bid the brothers farewell one day and departed the estate with the paperwork. Henry approaches them and tells them to return to work while the two stand back and watch them go. Then he pulls out his pipe and lights up. When he tries to humiliate the brothers by blowing smoke in their faces, they suddenly disappear, much to the astonishment of Henry. This suggests that the pipe was taken from them by Henry. The boys return to the present in the next scene, when they find their aunt standing next to them. Regis and Joel are pleased to see her clutching the original paper in her hand. A period of time elapses. Joel obtains a regular work on a construction site, but he continues to gripe about his low pay and claims that it is because he is black. Regis, meantime, resumes his duties at the town hall. One day, as he prepares to leave the workplace, the mayor welcomes him and tells a racial joke. Jack, who is no longer the same guy he once was, chooses to disagree with the mayor before leaving. The scene then shifts to Joel and his mother conversing with Jack and his wife in Jack's living room. The two agree that their experience strengthened their bond as a family, but an argument between their respective daughters leads to the tearing of the document of emancipation. The movie ends as Regis and Joel run toward their daughters in panic. Subscribe for more video like this, turn on notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.
De leur intelligent, le soleil donne